I'm addicted to the comfort of where I am now and the simple choice that is staying where is safe.
I forget where it is that I'm
and
going,
cold.
or where it is that I'm meant to be, or where it is that I want to be.
How can I form attachment to something new when I'm leaving this behind?
I forget to breathe, and suddenly I'm in my body from 5 years ago, watching everything inside out or outside in.
It's odd to be in a place that you grew up.
This air, this
I
land,
feel safe here and
has
relaxed,
touched me again and again.
but at the same time I feel watched, like I have a duty of care. Like I have a duty of care.
Yeah, I try to remember
Always return
as to
to
forget.
this place. I feel safe here and relaxed, but at the same
This
time
air,
I feel
this land
watched,
has touched me
and
again
like
and
I have
again.
a duty of care to always return to this place. It has
That's what it
grown
feels
as
like.
I have, as the people have, as the animals have.
That's what it feels like. I mean, to leave is a betrayal. You know, like I feel like I'm in debt to the very soil that raised me.
In order to feel satisfied with it.
This land and the infinite secrets it has whispered to me with each caress and stumble.
What is worse? What is worse? Never being able to fill your shoes or expectations of me.
Sometimes I forget what it means to be here.
Or those expectations not even being slightly relevant to my hopes or dreams.
And then I look into, like,
or being a stranger
someone else's eyes, like, not myself. And then that kind of snaps me out of it.
What's worse? What's worse, being a stranger to you? You have no clue who I am, what I do, what I
Going for
want.
a walk now just seems like retracing sides of grief and betrayal.
Because the people I love might not love me.
There are days where I don't want to leave.
The people I love might not love each other. The people I love die. The people I love change. The place I love feels like it wants to reject me. Feels like it doesn't have opportunity or growth for me.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I wish that I could just carry home in my pocket and forget all the people who hurt me. Or that I hurt.
Nothing is sticky, but it stretches and follows me, webbed. When I feel warm from the sun shining on me, everything feels good.
Perhaps that's where I should seek answers. But really, like, what is it that will save you for you now?
After lying in the light all day,
And surely we
I feel
can
like my
find
body
it
is full,
here,
like it holds a secret in it.
under the soil. Like the land's just waiting for someone to just keep asking, to keep listening. To keep asking, and to keep feeling. And at some point we all must return. I mean, it's an age-old dance. Or should I say dance? And I don't think that it's unique to Luchawito, but yeah, I don't know. I
Giggling,
think that
barely
this
breathing,
land is
full of love and future.
it's a question we all need to face, right? Or I guess we can just ignore it and think about what could have been, or what will be.
Before this, was there really anything better? If I look back now, what was I really afraid of missing? I want to feel it scratching my skin. I want to feel it scratching my skin. I want to sandpaper off the old dust particles that remain.
I wish I knew how to listen.
If anything has happened to you that seemed interesting enough to say it out loud,
I fear that
I'd
I'll
highly
just keep
recommend trying to
running,
make a lot of money
looking
from
for
it.
answers that
Sometimes things happen to people purely for entertainment. You just need to accept that. That is what's happening constantly.
I still don't really know if it's a privilege or a curse to be able to stay here. And I don't know if it's a blessing or a promise to try and leave. Or whatever. They're not all answers that needs to happen now, right? I can spend longer looking.
How can I form attachment to something new when I'm leaving this behind? Or expectations of me when I'm leaving this behind? I'm addicted to the comfort of where I am now when I'm leaving this behind. The simple choice that is staying where is safe when I'm leaving this behind. I feel safe here and relaxed, but at the same time I feel watched. Like I have a duty of care. Like I have a duty of care. To always return to this place. But at the same time I feel watched. I feel so anxious every time I start a new piece of art. I'm leaving so anxious as a need to achieve an exact goal or image that sits in my head in order to I feel so anxious every time I start and I feel watched. There's a need to achieve an exact goal or image that sits in my head in order to be satisfied with it. What is worse? What is worse? In order never to being able to fill your shoes or expectations of me.
As children in your land, this makes me yearn gravely every revolutionary girl. I wonder if I'm running away for a day or convinced is there. Why is it that whenever I come home, I'm attached in what I feel like I owe questions when they realize she is like my soul is where I was feel dreams from voice paralyzed with rebounds. Why did she carry herself into this way? I wish that I had stripped of her ego as her autonomous little girl with foundation, validation, and still becoming lady. So now all I know is that there's so much. Whether it's good or so much, where is she?
When I'm leaving this behind.
A shifting phase.
When I'm leaving this. When I'm leaving this. When I'm leaving this. When I'm leaving.
yeah, it was like it was just like frustrating as a kid because I constantly felt like
Why
I
isn't
had like
a
one
woman
foot in
helping
like
me
Chinese world and one foot
when
in
I'm
the Filipino world and then
going
another
through
foot
something
in
that
like
she went through as a
Tassie
kid?
world.
And I
This is
think
weird.
then that
And
was like
at
a
the
real
same
loss
time,
of
all three worlds
It is
were
weird.
both rejecting
the idea
me,
of womanhood, because I thought,
or on the cusp
do you remember
of
what you
accepting
were,
me.
you know,
Like,
maybe I can't connect as a child, but maybe I could connect to her as like a young girl. But even that wasn't enough.
Papa literally paid for me to go to Chinese school.
Sort of cut off any connection I think I had with this idea of womanhood and this idea of women finding support within each other, because what they go through is unlike anything else.
Schoolwork.
I think those people are so And did they just have you, like a little kid, call over it?
Oh yeah,
Or it was a
all the
worker?
girls they did it.
Yeah.
The worker did it.
Yeah,
and
it's girls having to work. Just
yeah,
like
that
us,
was
just
just
don't want to get there more than anything.
like from when I was like probably 9. Like there were so many instances that I can remember where you know she was always like, oh, you can confide in me. Yeah, and just like at school as well. This is the thing, like I always told her so much as a kid. Sometimes she'd drop me always an hour before school was meant to start, like a few days later, a few weeks. You know, just like be sitting there and like fucking ammo cold. And I was like giving it not to long. And I just remember like something in me was like completely destroyed because it was just this constant like they fully were like going through puberty. You can't just leave your kid here because going on through campus. Just all of these really tricky things. And her just constantly being like,
What were you thinking about?
oh well, you should enjoy that, you should appreciate it, because it's like one day that's all gonna go away. That like had nothing to do with my people. But it encouraged me to sexualize myself like constantly, like all throughout high school, even though like at the time I knew that I wasn't into men. Like I was just like hooked on this idea of like there's some sense of value in me if I'm like appealing to these men. Of motivation,
Which, you know, doesn't...
towards like assimilation, where it's like
The
what's the
talk
highest thing
experience
that
I
can do
had
to
with
assimilate?
her,
What's the most refined thing that I can do to like be respected?
it felt so... like it did have this hint of jealousy or possessiveness to it, because she came into my room and she started bawling her eyes out and crying at me and saying that she didn't want me to grow up and she didn't want me to do something I didn't want to do, and I ended up having to, you know, calm her down.
She does not know how much she fucked up. She just how much that fucked.
And I think then that was like a real loss of 5 months, 4 or 5 months. The idea of womanhood, because I thought, you know, maybe I can't connect to my mum's child, but maybe I could connect to her as like a young girl.
I don't know as well, because like technically my first language wasn't English.
But even that wasn't
Messiah, which is like a
enough.
was my mom like
But now, when I occasionally see, so I sort of flagged that within my family.
and then I like grew up in the Philippines.
I don't hear how she said that,
And then I took her
she either needs to start to, like, she needs to start whatever it is, more masculine.
speaking Messiah. I just felt like it was because
Couldn't see people, I couldn't go to school, I couldn't, you know, get out of bed.
in 2006
I didn't have a want for that language.
didn't have a want for that language.
Drag me out to the car.
When I was 13 and I was going through it for the first time, it was like,
And I sort of made the mistake, clearly, of saying that that wasn't okay. And then she didn't talk to me for
Yeah, and I'm like
3
still
months.
recovering from that.
But just like I called her, I texted her family, wanted to make sure she was okay.
sort of cut off any connection I think I had this idea of womanhood and this idea of
And then
just leave me there for the day.
eventually
Women
she
finding
just got back
support
to me
within
and
each other
said
because what they go through is
that what I
like unlike anything else.
was being really horrible and that kind of
So I just didn't want to be there through day one. And I think it was
that's just because like
and then
constantly
we had like a big phone call.
Yeah, I remember I was like, he doesn't even try to talk. Like he used to not even try to talk.
But
I was less like
I really went into it wanting to repair the relationship because I think I was just like I was at this real thing. And then I just kept end a 6-year relationship on obvious it's not going to happen. So I went into it being like, yeah, sure, I'll apologize, like take a bit of time, but now it's just it'll be what it is.
No, because like I just feel like
But on the call, I
because I'm not
told her how
because we're both not in each other's lives.
hurt my feelings.
It's the same with a breakup. Like you really just start to question how much of yourself is yourself, and how much of yourself is actually
Cantonese,
this other
it's
person.
been like
What she'd done,
And I feel like the past,
intentional what she was going
you know,
through, it had hurt my
year and a bit,
like showered and like
and you know, she thinks
I just constantly have to keep reminding myself that all of these interests, creative and personal,
say sorry,
that I have like been in my life
and it was so
since I was young,
yucky,
and
so horrible.
I didn't pick these interests up to impress someone, and that this person only came into my life because I already had those interests. But it's so difficult to not feel like I curated myself for that person,
but as for like
and because of that it feels difficult to like hold on to those things that I care about, because
I kept seeing
both like
I'll go out
it reminds me of them,
like to show
but
up
also because I'm worried that that's actually going to happen.
yeah, I feel like that's only really happened.
Or that in order to be free from that person, I need to be free of those interests.
It's quite recent.
But then that also means like,
and I would get like instant panic attacks.
you know, it's obviously not true because it means that I'm like forcing myself to not care about things that I care about.
Also around me, like also lost touch.
And then I think once I actually
Like it's
processed that loss, and
yeah.
almost like
Just remember my mom
like
getting jealous. You know,
not even like she was dead. Like I grieved her
Yeah,
like,
like bestie,
oh,
actually,
there's no way I'll see her again or speak to her again.
like from when
And I grieved
just
that,
didn't
I processed
stop to
that.
investigate.
And then I
There was so many instances that I come across
But I
as
know
like
she's
trying to, you know,
I know
she was always like, invited me, you can tell me, yeah, this makes
she's
sense.
so unusual
This
how
is the thing that's understanding is told I was so much as a kid, and
once I processed it and I wasn't looking
became
for
a
her,
problem. And then, yeah, these days, like a few weeks, a few years,
Never saw her.
it's like fucking amateur. Just like the racial history and the racial culture, like in Australia.
Yeah, I mean that is
has been right. It was like completely destroyed because it was just this constant like comes with a lot of histories and like going through puberty,
I'll pick up
going
fragments of things they
through
like.
and just do these
Or
really tricky previous
it's just someone
generations. But when it is getting constantly like completely just you should enjoy them, you should appreciate it because it's like one day that's all gonna go away. I actually know when I realized that as well, and I feel like this is 100%.
And then I tell myself, I'm like, oh, but I'm not losing
But I
myself
just
in
remember
anything,
using to hang
adding to whatever I'm already at.
but then things just came to visit.
But then, like, what is that?
Us
Whatever.
all down here
I
that
still
are like
understand
in Tasmania, and sometimes I just think about it.
But yeah, like being down here,
And I like started stressing. It's just
That's special.
yeah,
And also just get
it
help.
was just like frustrating as a kid because
Oh,
like,
yeah.
something
Yeah.
felt like
But I think
encouraged.
that's why I
It
think
encouraged me to
one
sexualize
foot
myself.
And also, like, we're getting help. So
Chinese
it's
were
like,
like
oh,
both free, so
we're helping. It's fine.
But then like as a kid world, and at the same time all three worlds were, there's some both rejecting me, or
I think
can't
there's
see what
also
accepting
like
by
an
rejecting
innately
other
queer,
gender.
It was like,
an
oh, I've
innately
never seen,
queer
you know, I've never
grief.
seen like a 10-year-old
in
It's like I would go and visit family in the Philippines, and like literally one of
like
my relatives
hating someone and loving them at the same time.
said that he fully was like, I feel like when really it was like he compared me to like a dead fish.
And I don't know what it is. You know, I don't. You know, some people theorize that it's like a form of self-hatred, and it's like
I just remember I started
an extension of that self-hatred to love someone that you hate, or you know, to desire and for your desire to be rejected, and that's just such a staple experience within queerness. But yeah, like still loving someone that has abused you.
But obviously, by that age,
You were back then.
figured it out. And the talk experience I had with her,
I feel like there's something.
it felt so like it did have this hint of jealousy or possessiveness to it. Because
Something
she
about
came into my room
a situation
bawling her eyes out, crying at me, and saying that she didn't want me to grow up, and she didn't want me to do something I didn't want to do, and
that's
and I ended up
But also just like
Yeah.
like I think we've moved on it.
Yeah, I think there's something about a situation where you're not supposed to want the other person that
Belief
feels so hot and so you know that because your choice
as a
to
queer
cut it.
person or as a neurodivergent person,
I don't fucking know. I think like being, you know, I think that there was like
sexually wanted or sexually active is
but then also I remember specifically
already
I was
so unwanted by society.
and then
So it almost feels more comfortable to be in a situation with a child.
but literally like
And it almost feels like, oh yeah, this is where I belong as the person I am.
But if,
she
like, if I was
basically
in
was
a
like,
very
Normal situation or an encouraging situation, that would feel boring, and that would feel like a waste.
and I think that like it's
It's what
really
I'm representing almost.
was behaving in a way
but yeah, it's so difficult
to make me feel supported.
But then from that
to
feels
actively choose to lose something that you
unsafe
wanted.
situations,
Of
and
course.
you get into situations that hurt other people, but then
my
I'm swinging it like, why is everyone upset?
This is just exploding and solving a fucking project.
like I'm like obviously I'm glad that I went on that whole entire learning thing, but like
But yeah, there's something about being
like
Figure out
exactly
how
that
safe. Like when I'm feeling comfortable or when I've fully gotten over something. Because that's when I panic, and that's when
oh yeah that's right.
Or even just, you know, I think that's what you do, which, you know,
I told you I was like I get to
in hopes that like about the relationship or that there's a piece of
now you know.
the other person basically they can forgiveness from. Especially because like we also get from like forgiveness. I've been in love with since first seen, and not only has that so I think
Yeah, that's why I was
my first ever
should I
festival,
feel
they're
so
more
dumb?
than
Now I remember why. Oh god.
and then yeah, and then she has for just like so loving, and then she has to find it. Yeah, I know, and I feel like so much of the. But it's like you
But it's like since I was little.
and I know that I remember, but so like once they like this.
No, sometimes I'd be cracking jokes.
No one's.
But
In the other room.
But is it like a how you
Oh,
share?
No, it's like a joke.
Are you okay? Or like,
How do you know? How do you know?
no one, because I know you.
Like I had like taken
was like,
Get a reaction. So many things.
and I feel like it seems so dramatic. But I just feel like bleep it out or something. Confessing love.
I guess it seems greedy because we were supposed to have that as kids. Like, I feel like everything is being done in reverse a little bit.
I understand that you've
Look, I don't even
tried
really
your
know why
best.
we need to have this
You've
conversation when you're
tried,
not even going to listen to me
you've-
anyways.
Yeah, like you've really tried your hardest to make this space as safe as you possibly can.
Which is really confusing because
This is
I
me.
meant to be the one with the
I just
victimhood
think
complex,
that
right?
maybe if you looked at it from a different angle,
But,
maybe approached it with a bit of, I don't know, fucking humility. Is that a word? Let me Google. Humility. Hey, that's a word.
Humility.
I just really love control of other people. Even though I hate myself.
Stop just looking at yourself and your privileged friends around you.
So, I guess I'll just spend like the next 10 years trying to figure that
I don't know how you
out.
got the impression that you think you could talk to me like that when I'm just trying to fucking help you. Because you have a real opportunity here to make something quite great and quite nurturing, and instead you're just fueling your own ego.
Yeah, it's really fun being a dictator. That truly is why I make art and why it's so a core skill that I've learned in therapy, because I didn't really learn it any sooner, was communicating my feelings and anxieties and establishing boundaries. That's a fun version of music. And if it's an apology out of me that you need, know that the apology is to placate you and
so poorly.
because actually it's her voice so deep. Why does she carry herself every way?
That it's almost unbelievable.
Whereas you probably don't see it as an abusive behavior.
And I know throughout time
When you deny access to places that
when you're not
actually
an established person being repaid.
that has made me uncomfortable. And instead of listening to me, you've reacted to my reaction. And now, I hope this is what you mean. Like, highly intelligent and concerned with your well-being that are actually mine. Like literally my possession. How did they see this girl? That somehow in your mind I just enjoy having a victimhood complex and destroy getting in the way of my life and my well-being and my career. I choose
I'm doing this to
to
maybe
be
gain a bit
isolated
of
from
authority
communities and to be isolated from opportunities and to watch on as other people who are less qualified than me, but far more affluent or gorgeous, the more questions I was watching them to the point of and everything. They are paralyzed in their confusion, stripped of their ego. Joy is when I don't speak up about my ideas, but I have a private conversation with someone about them. I love watching that person bring my idea to the table and get credit for it and act like it's their idea. Which, I like, sure, okay, fair enough, maybe I should have brought it to the table sooner, but I think what really highlights how it comes from a place of love and support is that